Testing one, two. All right. Hello. Hi there. So letting people in to the call, and just let me know where you're from. That'd be really nice. Um, I also have an alarm that I meant to turn off, but if it goes off in the next couple of minutes, I guess we know. So as more people come in, um, getting them in, hopefully everyone had an opportunity to watch the first part one session. And if not, please, please watch part one out there. Okay. So maybe I'll wait until the alarm goes off. That will probably be best. So it's set. And that's a part of what I do in my life. I set alarms for certain things. And when we get to that section of journaling towards success, you'll see why. Like, and I don't kind of, I could just turn it off, right? But I'm like, I kind of don't want to. Um, okay, so we have more coming in. So as you're coming in, make sure you let me know, where are you from? Okay, we got some. Okay. Oh, we've got some worldwide. Okay, some folks from Brazil. Hello. We have, okay, I see Florida. Okay, hey, hi, hello. Um, Tennessee, very good, very good. Atlanteans, yay. Okay, so here, you know, okay, and hopefully everything will be okay. Um, I tried to find the best possible place to make sure everything was working well. Last week was okay, and then the week I also had another session strictly on Facebook, and it was kind of bad in that the connection was horrible. So I'm hoping that things will be okay. Okay. Folks, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here already. Well, part of it is that you've already seen a couple of those slides. Anyway, if you watch part of them. So please go back and watch part of them. All right, so I see more people are coming in. I'll probably go ahead and start. I'm hoping that everyone who is here can make it here live. If not, you can watch the replay. Okay, we got some more people. There's no. Oh, it's in there. Turn it off. Before it went on. All right, so I see. Oh, okay. A lot of people from the South. We got some more Tennesseans out there. Hello. And it looks like, okay, Mexico. Yes, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start. So, hi, hello, welcome back. My name is Monica, and this is part two of journaling towards success. So, many people ask me in my other realms of I don't want to say expertise, but other realms of the things I do. Um, how do you do so much? I mean, I give them answers, but then sometimes I guess they don't believe me. But one of the things I can tell you that is true is that I'm a single woman with no children. So a lot of this stuff I can do, um, being a singer-songwriter, writer, educator, coach, still like doing it. I like doing it. And there are other obstacles, I can go in further, but you're here to learn about how you can journal to achieve goals. Okay. So I'm a creative alchemist and a polymath of sorts. Um, yeah, so let's get back into a little bit of me and my background, my bio here. So yeah, so my performance name is Nerd Queen. I as you can see there, I'm not going to read it to you. You can read. But basically, as I learned different skills in my life, I let them compound in such a way that helped me do a lot of different things in life, right? I feel like if you are in the creative arts in some way, you tend to learn other things. Even though in the United States, they don't always teach you how to make a living as your, creative person. That is changing though, so that's one thing I'm grateful for. But for the most part, yeah, I've lived an interesting life. And let's get into it. As I said, this session, I left up the points of what we covered in the previous session. So I want you to make sure, again, seriously, go back and review. So I went over the journaling benefits because there's a lot of them. I just brushed up on a few. And then I also covered self-identity and awareness. And again, it's just so surface level. I can have like more in-depth conversations around that or those two. But this course is more of kind of an introduction for people who are like, I don't know anything and I don't know where to start. I'm not sure what to do. Okay. So today, and I feel like the research I did so far, I tried to make it as easy as possible for people to understand. I feel still that this is going to have to be a two-parter today's session. So session 2 is going to be all about limiting beliefs, the blocks, and how to work through them. The reason why I feel like it's going to be a two-parter is because first you need to know what they are, and be aware of the different ways to work through them. And it opens up a whole nother aspect of being a person who is changing their life. You have to really get into digging deep within yourself. And it's not about rise and grind. I hate that term, by the way, because that's implied that you're trying to like force something. When really what's happening, we're revealing and shining a light. And sometimes revealing and shining the light is all that it takes sometimes. So in part 2, we'll probably go more in depth than today, only because I want to make sure that you are aware that limiting beliefs is not something that is like a one and done kind of thing. It's always ever going. And as we'll move forward in this, you'll see. In the next upcoming sessions, we'll be setting those meaningful, achievable goals. So hopefully you already have a goal, and hopefully it's a goal that is meaningful already. But if not, it's okay if you haven't. If anything, I did have some questions from people from the previous session. So this is a section where if you do have questions beyond the live, um, after you start doing your own homework and you're just like, I don't know how to do this, so make sure you can reach me by email, and I am going to cover some answers to some emails from the last session. You can also reach me at LinkedIn, I think. And then I also have a newsletter. I don't know how interactive the newsletter is, only in that you can read it. But again, I think you'll probably be more successful emailing me at the above address. Okay. So I have a newsletter. Yay, give me. So there's that. And then let's get to more of this particular course. So this is a six-part session. I'll try my best to assist you in setting goals and maintain accountability towards them. And that's really the job of a coach, okay? And it kind of leads to the questions that I got emailed. So one of the questions that I did get was about what services do I offer? And so this is mainly what I offer. I do give you more insight on your body, your hormones, basic spiritual concepts. So I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm like a spiritual coach. In the mundane world, I can say I am a mindset and manifestation coach, but spiritual coach, I wouldn't feel comfortable calling myself a spiritual coach for other people, because I really do believe our spiritual journeys are unique. You know, are unique in that I don't think there is one way to go about it. And as I'm going through it, I've hashed through several layers of different things, excuse me. And I don't know if I would be able to. I can give you certain things, information, but I don't think I could coach somebody in their spirituality per se. So I'm more of an action kind of person. So with that, I am not a therapist. And that's another thing. I'm not a therapist. I am a life coach. So therapy means you get a diagnosis, you get some medication. Okay. I don't do any of those things. And because I don't do any of those things, when people ask me questions using psychological terms, I kind of feel a little nervous about that, because I'm not in the medical part of this. So using terms like narcissist, like that, like I feel like it just gives me the willies in a not so good way. So please don't use those terms with me if you're working with me. And then that leads to get an answer to another question. Some people want to work with me one-on-one and not necessarily through a group session, which I do most often. And this is the reason why, because I'm not a therapist. Okay. I'll go into story time. So when I was giving music lessons and I would have music students and clients come to me, yeah, they wanted to learn certain instruments like how to play guitar or piano or sing or prepare for an audition, that kind of thing. So I'd give them, this the stuff. But then sometimes they would like to share with me, things that are happening in their life, which, that's kind of normal. And I also, what tended to come up was those blocks, those things that hold us back from our goals. So like there was this one person in particular, she was a woman. I tried my best not to give names, but she she was getting lessons for voice because her choir director told her that she sounded horrible. So, it was like she came to me, we did some exercises, warm-up exercises, over the weeks and things like that. And then she started telling me about the drama around her choir. And I mean, I can give you some insights and I told her those things, but at the same time, I'm like, here's some advice. I'm not a therapist, so yeah, I can give you advice, but just know I am not I cannot give you a diagnosis of, oh, you are experiencing blah 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 blah. So just keep that in mind. Also, there was something else I wanted to add. In that, if you are interested in one-on-one, I'm still debating that because again, I end up getting people wanting to vent and looking for like therapist type solutions when I don't provide those solutions. So I'm thinking I may want to go ahead and do something like a screener because I would love to work with people, but I also know that, there's some things I just cannot provide to you. Sorry, looking ahead. And that leads to the other question. There's some things I just cannot provide. And as much as I know some people out there might need therapy, I cannot give you therapy. And I suggest that if you do need therapy, go get therapy. Okay. If you feel like you need a diagnosis or medication, I personally at this time don't know any personal therapists to recommend, especially in this realm where it's virtual. Um, I do know a couple of therapists or, psychiatrists, but they don't do virtual. So I can only, so yeah, so I had a couple of questions on working with me one-on-one. I'm still kind of having feelings about that in that I don't want people to confuse life coaching with therapy. And when and if I have some type of screener, I will let you know. Okay. And then there was another question about the journals. So last week I did give away a journal because they followed the directions. So I can show you what the journals look like. Okay, so I made a little some mock-ups here. So hopefully you can see them all. I'm just going to start right here. Okay, so I have 6 different designs of journals. And when or if you happen to win one of them, I do have blank pages. I can provide you with wide rule and or not at the same time, but wide rule. And then there's a choice of college rule. Okay, for the lines. Okay, so you can have blank pages, you can have wide rule pages, or you can have college rule pages. Okay, so they're wonderful designs, if I do say so myself. And I guess I can do yet another story time on this. Like I was looking to try to collaborate with someone who had journals already, but they never responded to me. So I just went ahead and I was already wanting to do this anyway. So I just little red-handed. Okay. So sometimes you just have to. All right. So I hope those answers at least those questions. So you have to follow the directions. So following the directions of winning one of these would be making sure you watch to the end of this session for further instructions. Okay, there you go. All right, and let's get into this. All right. So here we go. So limiting beliefs. What is a limiting belief? It is a state of mind or it's a belief about yourself that restricts you in some way. It could be physically or mentally, you know, the belief that is that turns into something physical. But it's always mental. Okay. And I believe it is one of the most challenging obstacles we face. It is us, not other people, not other outside forces, even though I put this in here on the slide, where we do seek advice from other people closest to us. And sometimes that support varies. Sometimes you get people who are like, yeah, total cheerleaders. They want you to do well in life. And then sometimes there are people who want you to do well in life, but then they're scared because they have their own limiting beliefs. And they advise you to do certain things. Like let's do a typical example. So a child or a kid, a young person going into college, and they don't know what major to take, right? And they have things they like to do and love to do, but then they're like, well, I don't know what to take for my life, and some people may say, hey, explore, you got like a year at least, or you can just do a gap year if you're not sure. Or some people might say, go into business because you can do this, this, and this, or whatever. Some people might say, oh, become a doctor, become a lawyer, become a blah, blah, blah. And all of that is, it's meaningful, it's well meaning, but it might be limiting because they're thinking, oh, well, you got to make a living, you got to do this and that. So anytime somebody says you gotta or you're supposed to, I feel like that's a limiting belief. I don't have to do anything. It's all a choice. Same for you. All of it's a choice. Okay. So again, I put this in the last session. Please don't live your life based on others' opinions. Okay. Other people have limiting beliefs and they like to navel them up to you. In fact, a lot of what I feel like a limiting belief is peer pressuring people into believing like they believe. Okay. And there is, there's science behind that. People want to connect with others who think like them. I get that. Okay. So, yeah. Now, I put this slide in because I want people to have more of a visual of what they are looking to achieve. I like this particular graphic. I use it at my work in my day job, but I want people to realize that any goal, you're about to go into like the unknown. Okay. You might have seen examples of the results of someone doing something, for example, like weight loss. You might see somebody have lost 80 pounds, but you're not always there through the entire process, right? You might see the before, and then of course you see the after, and you're like, okay, this sounds like I can do it too, right? But it can be scary. You're going to go on your own journey, as they call it, the hero's journey or the heroine's journey. You're about to go on your own journey. And this is what it's going to look like. Okay. You're going to leave your comfort zone for whatever reason. Like it's comfortable. These bad habits, these things in life, they feel safe because you know them. The devil, right? So you know them. So as you start pushing out and trying to go towards your goals, yeah, there you go. Those people and their opinions, they're going to be showing up left and right. And like, oh, let's use the weight loss as an example. There's always somebody that's going to say, you should just love the skin you're in. It was like, what you losing weight for? You were never really that big, so people are going to come at you, whatever, kind of thing. You may be that person saying, it's like, it's just 20 pounds, it's not going to make a difference in my life, finding excuses. Really, you're just afraid, or you're jumping on to what somebody else is saying. It's like, oh, they're right, and you're going back into that safety zone again. Don't do that. Okay. When you're listening to other people, of course you're feeling that self-confidence, that confidence when you're listening to them, and then you're letting them get into your head, right? You got to push forward. Eventually you're going to feel uncomfortable. You will. Okay. And that's okay, because you're introducing yourself to your new self. Think of it as a dinner party. You're about to meet your new self, right? And you've never met that new self before. You might be nervous. You don't know. What is this new person like? Does this new person like the same things I like now? So you're going to be challenged. You're going to have new set of skills. And like I said, we'll go through this further along the line, but I totally understand why a lot of people quit certain goals, because they end up finding excuses or falling for, what other people say about these things. And they start to believe, all of that stuff. But really, the moment that you start to feel the fear, that's the steps, I'm there. I'm there. You will be afraid, but embrace it. Okay. So, a lot of people build these limiting beliefs in a way that um, labels things. And I hope you've noticed since the beginning of this particular session, I've used the word feel instead of am for a reason, because we are ever changing. And in this case, we are definitely working on changing. Okay. In your last session, I hope that you were working on, knowing who you are currently so that you can transform. There are things that people label, and I'm not a fan of labels either. So labels that are beyond demographics, so beyond female, Black, middle age, so those kind of things. So when people say things like narcissist or so that's that one word I just don't make. Okay. But when you label things, you start attaching all of those adjectives along with that word. And I know that's kind of an efficient way, but it's not accurate either. It's efficient, but not accurate. So it's just like when somebody says Black woman, you may or may not start having some kinds of visions of a Black woman. Okay. But that doesn't make this particular Black woman what that is. Okay. Some people might envision Beyonce. I am not Beyonce. Some people might envision Medea from the Tyler Perry things. I am not Medea. Some people may envision, I don't know, I'm trying to think of anybody else, like, but basically, I'm just saying, it's like push past the labels. Push past the labels. Okay. Yes, labels can be useful, but in this case, we cannot have them because they're not going to be very useful. What you can do is describe feelings, and we'll get definitely into that. Okay. So when other people label us, they are already attaching all the adjectives that go along with that in their mind. So some people, when you say Black woman, think Beyonce. Some people, when you say Black woman, think Medea from Tyler Perry. Okay. So that's why I feel like it's inaccurate. Okay. So other examples of limiting beliefs is when you say, again, I am not good at math. Or she is so talented. That's another one of my pet peeves. She has a gift. It's it's kind of putting an excuse on the work that needs to be done. Okay. Most people are just assuming that talent is some kind of magical thing that comes down out of the sky and you just get sprinkled with it. There is, a little bit of that, I feel like, but then there's the work that comes along with it. That's the reason, again, back to when I was giving music lessons, some people were like, oh, so many people, and this is on the flip side where I will get the littles, like 4 and 5 parents would come to me and say, oh, I think my child is gifted, in music. And I'm like, okay, and then come to find it, they just like music. They're not gifted. They like music. When they hear music, they dance. Okay. When they hear music, they want to sing. If music is a gift, but they don't have the gift of music. They're experiencing it. Okay. So again, same thing with whatever it is you're going through. You're experiencing it. You are not. Okay. That's again down here with the bias of good guys versus bad guys. This is how it leads into things like prejudice. Okay. And basically, yeah, bias turns into prejudice. Okay. And most people are trained to have this fixed mindset of like labeling things based on, you know, what they, what, as I said, the example of the Black woman, like they place certain feelings around, like, oh, Black woman, glamorous, like singer, like, performer versus Medea's angry Black woman complaining and violent, so people are putting their own interpretation on things that are nouns, and feelings also. Feelings are not nouns, and feelings are actions, no, sensations, sorry, and they don't last. Okay, when we interpret them and recycle them, that's how we keep them going. And again, I can go more into this. But basically, yeah, people attach the feelings that they've had in the past onto certain things. That's why, again, everybody's talking about a narcissist. Like, you don't really know. Like, I'm just gonna be honest, unless you are a psychiatrist, you don't really know what a narcissist is. So please stop using these words. Okay? You don't really know. And same is for a lot of other things. Like, I don't want to just go down the list, but we're talking about limiting beliefs. Anytime that there could be an opposition to it, then that must be a limiting belief, even on the positive spectrum. Okay. You can make a limiting belief a positive as well. Okay. So, again, back to this bias of good guys versus bad guys. We are all capable of doing bad things and good things. That does not make us good or bad. Same is true for math. We can all learn something in math. That doesn't make you bad or good at it. You're just learning the skill. Okay. Same thing with talent. You learn the skills. It is not necessarily a gift. Okay. You hone your skills. Okay. Now, there's something else, and again, with the spiritual journey aspect of it, a lot of people think that, oh, once you come into the spiritual world, or once you get into personal development, or once you start doing start doing the work a little bit, that it's a one and done thing. And they, go get their coaching or their mentoring, and then maybe the same problem comes back again and it looks a little different, but it's still the same problem. They're like, wait a minute, I thought I was done with this. No, as long as you're alive, that's what our work is. As long as we are on this realm, Earth School, as Gary Zukav has mentioned in one of his books, we have work to do always. Okay, it is never a one and done. It is never of I made it to this level, and that's again where I hate when some people take certain words in the spiritual world and they're turning it into like this hierarchy when it's not that at all. It is not a hierarchy. You will feel like you'll have to become friends with your feelings. You have to become friends with your feelings. And that is a part of the work that you do. That is where a lot of people avoid, and I used to be one of those, and I'm still working on that, where you just pretend like, oh, I don't have any feelings, or I don't want to talk about that, or push it away, or that kind of thing. So your feelings are the key to the unlocking of it all. Okay, you have to feel those feelings to know what is going on. If that is your alarm system, so that you can start that in the work. Okay. Let me move my face. Sorry. So again, working with your limiting beliefs and challenging those blocks, that is a lot of your journaling work. That is a lot of what your journaling work is going to be like. Okay. Especially starting off now, as you're starting to learn who you are as a person, you might not know who you are as a person. And I didn't even get to the thing about the life audit, which I'll show you in a minute. So there's a lot of people who don't know, what they want out of life because they haven't really thought about it. Like they're too busy doing what other people told them to do. Okay. And letting them tell them like, oh, this is what it looks like to be successful. And that model worked awesomely, 200 years ago. Okay. Maybe even up to the last 60, 70 years. I don't know. So we're now in a different time where a lot of us have more access to sacred teachings, to what they used to call the new thought movement 100 years ago. We have more access to all of this information, and we do not have to live this cookie cutter life anymore if you don't want to. Okay. But yeah, there's going to be obstacles and blocks because the irony of the cookie cutter life is it was supposed to be straightforward, and something inside of you felt more than just this cookie cutter life, right? And some people are totally fine living that life, but maybe the reason why you're here is because you felt something that you knew this was not what I want out of my life. I want something new. Okay. And it does require really going in within. Okay. You'll be working towards self-awareness and emotional intelligence. You will be tapping into things that you were like, oh, well, I thought that was this and that was that. They were lessons, things that you may have had trauma. We've all had trauma, by the way. So you may have had certain traumas that molded you in some kind of way to feel a certain way. But we can unlearn and relearn. And that's the beauty of inner work and the beauty of self discovery and the beauty of personal development. going through a lot of this. Again, the journaling is definitely going to be something that you work on through this process. Like you're just gonna be living life, right? So sometimes your journal is like your diary type where, oh, this happened today. It made me feel a feeling. I wonder why I feel that way. So you're going to be working through it in that way. So I did put on a listing of methods of working through your limiting beliefs. And I definitely put therapy as number one. And again, I am not a therapist, okay? But I can give you journaling prompts, working through a little bit of the other modalities, but not a therapist, not a therapist, I can't give medication. Okay, so I don't know if I can say that, but thank you in that thinking that I could be. So with journaling, I can provide journaling prompts. I do that even with the littles in my classroom. And sometimes journaling helps so much when people don't actually learn how to reflect. I feel like therapy can work for some things, but then it brings up the whole idea of not reflecting yourself or you doing the work. You're again looking for somebody else to tell you how to think and how to feel. When really, if you put that out on the paper or you do it in a recording and you listen back to it objectively, then you start to say, oh, if this was my very best friend in front of me, I don't think I would want them to feel this way, right? And that's really what I'm trying to empower people to do is to learn how to reflect, learn how to reflect. Okay, therapy is wonderful. Journaling can be very helpful. Okay, I'm not saying don't go to therapy, but please, if you do, please go to therapy. Because guess what? In therapy, they might suggest you do some journaling. Okay, they may help you with that. And there's also I'm going to move forward in this list here. So then there's also meditation. There's different kinds of meditation out there. I like to visualize a lot. I don't like, I tend to forget the labels of what it's called, like to just be. I do like it, but I don't like it. So again, me being an action oriented person. So I like when I do my morning sessions of meditations, I do my visualizations. I tend to do it a little bit, the visualizations at night too, but I also kind of want that one to be more of the dumping of the day's events, trying not to reflect on and ruminate because a lot of them don't get us started, right? So ruminating on like what you could do better last time, don't. It's not a pity party, not a session to beat yourself up with. Okay, so I like to do the visualizations in the morning and sometimes at night, only in that if I have a problem that needs solving. So that's a part of the De Silva method. And again, I dabble a little bit. I don't think I know enough to give that to anybody. Like I do it for myself. And again, as I learn, I will probably, give you more. But a lot of it I do for myself. Affirmations. Ooh, I have big feelings about affirmations for people who are new to the spiritual world. I understand that they can be fast, easy ways to help um, do accomplish certain things. But I feel like a lot of people use affirmations and they try what is called the spiritual bypassing and not feeling the feelings. I will say this. So if you are using affirmations and the first time you use an affirmation and you start to feel that feeling, don't push it away. That is your trigger. That is something that you need to work on. That is exactly the reason for the inner work, not to push away the emotions. There's a reason why. If you use the affirmation, I am rich, you know, deep down, you know you're not rich. Of course, you're going to feel feelings of like, this is crazy, you know? So then that's where you do the work. Why don't you feel abundant? Why? Like going through the why. And I think in the first session, I did the 5 whys exercise, I hope, or maybe I confused some sessions. So I can, you know, when you are feeling these big feelings, and that can be an exercise, go through the 5 whys. Ask yourself why at least 5 times to go in deeper. Because once you get um, find the word of emotion, then you know. If there's any variation of the word fear in the responses, then you know that is something you need to work through. And the affirmation itself cannot work if you are still feeling whatever variation of fear is there. Then there's coaching. So again, if people ask me about like, what do I offer? It's like, I would probably, you know, go more in depth with, like I said, the affirmations and meditation, probably teaching a little techniques and things like that, and saying, hey, you know, tell me how did that work for you. Journaling, I wouldn't want you to read to me what is in your journal unless you wanted to share, you know, and same thing with the littles. I don't read their writing. If they want to share it, then they share it. If they don't, then they don't. You know, again, this is to be completely who you are. So the moment somebody says, oh, well, I'm going to be reading your journal, then of course there's going to be some censorship involved. I'm not going to read your journal unless you want to share. Okay. There are other modalities. I'm moving right along. Sorry. Other modalities. There is EFT tapping, which again, I do a little bit of that with the littles. It's really great. And I'm going to show my new class some techniques. I do have a video that I haven't posted of me doing it in class and explaining it. Like the sound wasn't that great when I was doing it though, but EFT tapping it's basically where you find the meridians in your body and you reprogram yourself, like physically. Okay. Then there's reframing, for which I do a lot. And I can show you easily how to reframe. You know, you just take in one thing that you say and you just say, you know what? Maybe I could turn this statement into something more believable to my benefit. Okay. So that's the limiting belief on the positive end, where you can turn a negative limiting belief into a positive one. Okay. Then there is somatic release. And that again is something I'm learning more about for myself, where again, you feel the feelings and you let them go. Like, you know, don't hold back. You don't sit there and pretend like it's not happening to you. Usually you have like a practitioner helping you through the process. There is non-stimulant releases, and then there's some stimulant releases, and that's as far as I'll say on that. For some people, I do not do stimulant releasing, again, because I'm just still learning how to like go through hard feelings and just let them be. Like, I think ironically, when I was a teenager, I was doing it. Again, journaling. Okay. Even in songwriting for me, like I am, like as they say, that there are method actors. I'm a method songwriter sometimes too. And so yeah, so that's something that you can probably look into, find somebody who you can work with. I don't know anyone in particular uh, to work with in that modality. Now, breath work, I do help people with that. I have had training in breath work, so I can give people some things to work on and work with for breath work. Okay. And again, that is working through once you start feeling those feelings, how to reprogram yourself when you say, oh, I'm rich. And then you start feeling that knot in your stomach and you're like, okay, so how about we work on releasing this knot and visualizing and breathing through releasing this knot. And it feels and sounds like a lot like somatic release, but it's a little bit different. It's almost proactive breath work to me. So if that, sorry, I'm on my porch, and of course there's a cat that is not my cat talking to me. Sorry. These things happen. All right. And again, as I put here really big, it's like experiencing those triggers. You kind of look for them at this point now. So you don't run away from them. And that was something else that really bothered me in the last year or so when people are saying, that's my trigger. Don't say those words to me or don't do those things. That's a trigger. It's like, but that's your body's way of saying this is something I need to work on for yourself. You can't tell other people. See, and again, this is the inner work. You can't go around telling other people to not trigger you. They don't know what triggers you. You do, right? So it's your responsibility. It's your accountability. Okay. Now, here we go. Homework time. All right. So last week, I hope you made your goal. Now, again, a part of, and I am going to show you the audit. Somebody had asked also, what if you're working on a goal and you're just like, okay, this one, it feels too hard, too challenging, too tough. Can I change my goal? Yes, of course. Please, please change your goal. You can pause at any point in time as you feel like it and need to. Like again, that's again what I feel like that rise and grind kind of thing mentality has taught people to be like, no, you gotta no. If it's something right now as you're learning how to do inner work and learning how to achieve goals, I want you to be successful in this. And that's going to mean maybe choose something that's not as challenging. Okay. For example, maybe you just need, instead of weight loss, maybe you just need to adjust it to food choice. Okay. I mean, that's a part of weight loss, right? So maybe if you just change how you're eating or when you're eating, that could be an easier goal to work on. And that's the pivot. Okay. Learn to pivot. It's wonderful. It keeps you successful. And like I said, I will show you the audit in just a moment. But yeah, you at this point, start writing. Write about what's going on in your life. Whatever's be giving you big feelings, that's the trigger. That's the thing. That's what you need to be writing about. Okay? Explore who you are and don't judge. I know it's hard to go ahead and judge or label and say, I'm this, I'm that. No, just label it. Label it. I mean, no, excuse me, don't label it. Experience it and get curious. Okay. Getting curious means finding solutions rather than saying, I am. Now, a lot of people say, I am depressed, right? You are feeling depressed, but you're not depressed. I know I'll get pushback, but you're feeling depressed, which means you can move past feeling depressed. Okay. Now, the life audit. Okay, let's see. I think I've got one of these. Yes. All right. So I'm going to stop my share. Okay. Hi. And then I'm going to reshare the life audit that I am offering. Because again, somebody did ask, and that's why I strongly encourage people to ask me. Like if you're not sure about, the sessions and you're just like, well, what do I do if I'm not sure what to focus on? I come up with solutions for you. So again, I'm here to help you be successful, accomplishing a goal. Okay. So let me share the screen for the life audit that I made. And it will be available for free. Okay. I will also ask for your email address. You know why. So I can send you emails. Um, there is an option, of course, you can opt out, but I'm gonna, introduce you to my newsletter. Don't you want to read it? All right, so hopefully we got it here. It's my audit. So I made it. And this is basically it is. If you print it out, I think it's like 3 pages. I want to try to make this interactive. Like there is a calculation here at the bottom. Like, yeah, I'm kind of nerdy that way. I made it when I made it. So there's lots of things here. So I'm just going to click on this just so you can see. Yeah, there is a calculation there. So I don't know if I want to keep it there or not, but you can print it out. I'll make a PDF of it. You can print it out and you can use it that way still. So there are different areas, again, as I said in the last session, that you can goal set on. You can do the life audit just so that you can have it where, you can be like, okay, so once I work on this, then I can work on that, then I can work on this, so you can definitely have it for all of these things in life. So there is the aspect of personal growth and development. And after we go more into the limiting beliefs, we'll talk about, meaningful goals. Okay. Because we got to get used to feeling the feelings and knowing how to get rid of those. I don't say get rid of, learning how to work through the difficult emotions so that when we are working on our goals, those won't hold us up. Okay. That's why I put limiting beliefs first before goal setting or meaningful goals. Okay. So there's personal growth, then there's health and well-being. Okay. Then there's relationships. Okay. Then there's career and work. Then there's finances. Then there's personal environments. Like a lot of people don't think about this. Like this is one that I'm definitely working on. Like I'm renovating and all this other stuff, purging. I'm always purging. So there is, that makes a difference in your life. It really does. Okay. And then there's hobbies and leisure. Let's see if I can scroll some more. And then, of course, there's the spirituality and mindfulness. Then there's contribution and giving back. And again, that's something that can improve the quality of your life. A lot of people don't think about that. Okay? And then there's the long-term goals and legacy. Okay. So that is the life audit. Like I said, I can provide it to you as a PDF. It will be for free. That is my contribution and giving back. I'm going to stop this share now so that you can see me again for what I am in this session. And I did not see very many questions, so I am going to take the questions down. I will answer them in the next session. I see 2, 3 here. Okay. You can always, again, email me. I don't want to respond in email. Again, I'm trying not to have, I see that cat. Like, oh my gosh, I see 2 pets. Sorry. So, like, cats, by the way. They're cute. But anyway, so I will make sure I try to make it a general response for you. Okay. And again, as I said before at the beginning of this, I'm hesitant to do one-on-one sessions with people because it is a slippery slope between life coaching and therapy. And I want to make it very clear that I do not provide therapy. Okay. So please don't use those words. And, some people can't help it, or they just don't know how to communicate uh, exactly what is on their mind. Okay. So, how to end this week's journal or journal. Okay. Um, Last week, I had you put something in the chat. This week, again, I'm going to have you put something in the chat. And then I'll take all of those, spin it around, and then I will choose one person. Next week, I might do two. I don't know. We'll see. So, the thing I want you to put in chat before I go is, let's see, what I wanted to be a different emoji from last week, because last week I did say a certain emoji. Let me see what I can find. Because we're working on moving away from limiting beliefs. Let's see here. Maybe something that will be like a housekeeping type thing. I don't know, cleaning house, right? The last time I did a magical thing. And I think, I don't know, we'll see how I'm feeling about the giveaways. Like I'm grateful to be able to provide people with a free journal if they, like I said, following directions. I'm a teacher now, but we'll see how I feel about that. All right, so how about, since we are working on, like I said, housekeeping, maybe a housekeeping emoji. Ooh, I like this one. Well, okay, maybe I don't think that. Oh, was looking for something not the obvious, right? But I might have to do it. How about a broom? Yeah, let's just do the obvious. All right, so broom. If you can put a broom emoji into this current chat, which of course automatically all of you are going to be doing that, but even at the rebroadcast, um, I want to make it fair. So when I pull it, I usually pull in the middle of the week. So about Wednesday, I pull it, and I'll give people, a couple of days to watch this, to do the homework, put in that emoji so that they can be successful, right? All right. Okay, with that, I'm gonna go because I do have yet another class to do virtually back on Facebook. I gotta go. All right, with that, take care.